I'll listen to it. Everything passes. Storms rise, announcing disdain. Gunmetal torrents as sky. A lapis lazuli mirrors a pipe dream. Bodies were always built to resist. Foresight, a forgotten pilgrimage, single-stepping themselves into salvation. Mouth, an open sunrise. For saved words, only heard in disorder, a handpick of flowers you scoured this continent for. Everything passes. Even the good endings. In the middle, somewhere, you find yourself at the start. Familiarity being the bruises you know exist backwards, and take care to heal for yourself. Your mother once told you that there are some wounds that only you can nurse back to new. Like God, scratching the day into night and back to dawn. Against all odds, a cleansing, a coincidence, your destiny is yours to create. Everything passes. Like the lifetimes that fall off your tongue, and you can almost taste the endurance. Salt crystallizing for you to keep on your mantelpiece. A reminder of a timestamp to throw into the fire once you are ready to let go and let live. Only the ashes become catalysts, arriving ahead of you, the wake before funeral, christening before birth. Everything passes. The burning and breaking and even the believing. Your limbs are still grieving in the threads of patience your ancestors left. Your consciousness, an airborne persistence you can't take with you when you pack up to leave. Bodies always replicate the past. Real time, a reflection of your blood work, sacrifices symbolizing sacrament. Life spills itself in a recollection of the historic. Before you, the unfolding is familial, a rebirth, and you know this story. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. It's like it's my wedding or something. Oh, that was so beautiful. Shout out to the band, man. That was cold, bro. I've never performed that poem before, but you guys just made it so much more beautiful. So thank you so much. So beautiful. Yeah, man. Okay, you ready for another poem? Okay. Sky scabs like healing wound. Flesh flaking, falling, fleeing like knuckles deep in sepia, soon peeling. Like crumbling clay in black seed, cyclical, yet comforting and conflicting, scrutinizing the survival it surveys. No sympathy here, only a graveyard of 34,361 and rising, swimming and swimming between salt lakes and seaside, carpet burn hollows. Scattered figures backstroke away from swallows, sleepwalking and still following the sign home, never arriving tomorrow. Cracked ground, nosebleeds, it hemorrhages throat walls. Speak is talkless, yet supplication brand skin of 34,361 and rising, swimming and swimming, coarse and damp, can't hear a thing, there's nowhere for it to go. As bodies syrup onto shore like oil spills, like acid rain residue, like mercury, like forgetfulness, like urgency, never arriving tomorrow. Fingernails unkept, dirt-ridden and heavy, hands creased, calloused and keeping count. There is mud on her knees, there is mud on his knees, as herds of people hasten and hurry, entire lives held hostage by the waves. Promises to the fallen, floating in glass bottles. Once we reach safety, we will live. Like lava from volcano mouth, droplets descending into sand like limp bodies crawling away from harm. 34,361 and rising, swimming and swimming. Once upon a time, nobody lived. Once upon a time, nobody sought refuge. Once upon a time, continents were borderless. Once upon a time, bodies weren't separated by water. Once upon a time, the path of this earth was secure. Once upon a time, your memory becomes an ache you cannot cure. Once upon a time, the sea gets sick of lifelessness. Once upon a time, the sky is consumed with unanswered prayers. Once upon a time, the fight for survival was not brokered by place of birth. Tepid and indifferent. Life doesn't just loosen itself like losing yourself. Never close to dry land, quick enough, swimming and swimming. A street wall in Liverpool staggers with the weight of names. Once mortal, now memorialized. Somewhere, a genocide is happening. Somewhere, another pilgrimage comes to an end. Somewhere, the edge fails to reason. Somewhere, a wife holds her husband tighter. Somewhere, a gathering of drone circles. Somewhere, a father smiles at the sight of his newborn daughter. Somewhere, a mass burial takes place. Somewhere, heaven is not so high to reach. Somewhere, 34,361 bodies are swimming and swimming and swimming. Somewhere there is light upon light as the displaced cluster in pockets to leave. A gap tooth of smoke mourns in the air like absence, like fading, like abandon. You are left as speechless as the empty sky, a smattering of families torn apart. The stomach of the earth rumbles as buildings collapse. Dreams shatter along skylines. There is no room for life here in this place. Nobody risks theirs for £37 a week. Swimming and swimming. When space is vacant, when house is worth restoring, every room empty, doors left ajar, keys in pocket for returning. Fingers hesitate planting. Existence feels temporary and transient. What you know doesn't always give you what you reap. What you know isn't always what you need to keep. When you go, maybe you shouldn't follow the sheep. What is cold will often leave you out to freeze. What you were never told will haunt you in your sleep. Jeez! That was a lot, you know. You guys smashed that as well, you know. Raw. The band smashed that. Oi. Okay. Should we try and do a happy poem? Lol. What's one of them? Okay, I want to dedicate this poem to my best friend who's in the audience. And he's going to cringe so hard. But it's his birthday today. And he actually inspired me to write this poem, man. Like, he's such a real one. So this one's for you. I'm not going to say your name, otherwise you'll, like, shout at me. Nakash. This one's for you, bro. A love letter for the remaining softness left in brown boys for when the rest is taken from them. I'm gatekeeping perfect brown boys for myself, collecting them for they are precious. All open heart and sexy hair, palms that have held the women in their lives with tenderness, warmth and honesty. Perfect brown boys that are emotional, aren't fearless, who carry the darkness of grief. Perfect brown boys that have grieved and know that they don't have to savor the hardness of it on their skin. Let it grow like a tumor they'll write a eulogy for on their deathbed. Whose hands soften callous with good moisturizer. Draw out masculinity in every handshake. Perfect brown boys that self-care because they don't need reminders to afford kindness to themselves. They own their permission by their very own admission. Ones that don't compartmentalize their anger or their trauma or their pain. Perfect brown boys that aren't afraid to live or love or laugh are cliche, common, candid and wear the colour pink. Buy flowers for each other and don't wait for after the end to lay flowers for the people that they have loved. Perfect brown boys that don't need to ask for space. Ones who are seen and know their value. Hang around when times get tough. Ones that smile first and use their words. Perfect brown boys who cry in the sun because it is beautiful to feel it and exist in light. Cry in the rain too, but not because it hides tears well, but because they're able to regulate pain and don't need to cry in private. Perfect brown boys that don't hide scars from their mothers, especially ones that take the shape of suicide. Hang around street corners, outside the masjid and after school at Alex Park. Be ridiculous and hug each other for no other reason other than adoration. Celebrate their achievements, take time to mourn their losses. Perfect brown boys that address their issues with their absent fathers. Aren't absent fathers, are absent fathers because some perfect brown boys feel absence within themselves. Ones that aren't toxic, ones that text me back. Aren't scared to lick the first move, brave the risk, ride the wave, sit in the still, or be the calm after the storm, or ones that say I love you for no reason at all. Because perfect brown boys deserve to be spoken about, often and with illumination. Far too frequently in time, the world hides them in its shadows.